Artificial intelligence has moved rapidly from being a futuristic concept to something deeply embedded in our everyday lives. From how we communicate and learn to how economies grow and governments make decisions. But as AI expands globally, it also raises important questions about inequality, inclusion, power, and responsibility. Today, we'll explore what AI really is, how it's being used across different societies, who benefits most from it, and what risks come with its rapid adoption. Most importantly, we'll discuss how AI can be shaped in ways that are fair, inclusive, and accountable for a world that is far from equal here on NTV World Insight. Please join me in welcoming our guest for today's program, Kshetri, who is a professor at University of North Carolina, Greensboro, and a research fellow at Kobe University. He holds a PhD from University of Rhode Island. Professor Kshetri, welcome to NTV World Insight.
Thank you so much for having me, Saraji.
Well, to start with, in the simplest of terms, what is artificial intelligence?
Artificial intelligence is basically, simply put, it is about simulating human intelligence by machines. The way it works is basically machines exactly acquire different types of information. They understand the rules, how exactly all those different information is processed, and apply those rules to reach into some conclusion. So machines do that, actually simulating human behavior. And over time, they also self-correct and learn from feedback, so that the ultimate goal is to become exactly like human being. And okay, the ultimate goal is to become human, not only like human being, because they can process information much faster, maybe 100 times faster or even 1,000 times faster. But the main idea is to be like human being.
Across the world, across cultures and geographic region, how are we using artificial intelligence, knowingly or unknowingly?
Yeah, actually we are using artificial intelligence pretty much all the time. For example, in Nepal, let's say most people have smartphone. If you are using smartphone, if you are writing me a text and there is some recommendation, okay, what the next word is possibly going to be, you don't have to really type, and the phone is suggesting you something, and that is artificial intelligence.
The predictive thing.
Exactly. And that is a simple artificial intelligence, not very sophisticated. If you are using Microsoft Word in typing things, and it will basically suggest some words or make some spelling errors, correct that, and that is also artificial intelligence. If you are using social media, then maybe what exactly the social media is recommending you, that is also artificial intelligence. If you are buying product from Amazon or other websites, and based on what exactly you did in the past and your certain type of profile, they recommend you something, that is also artificial intelligence. So more advanced use could be if you are driving a car and the future is self-driving car, and they also use artificial intelligence, and also pretty much used in different areas, like even farmers are making a lot of good use of artificial intelligence, and pretty much across all industries they are using artificial intelligence these days.
Do you think socioeconomic factors come into play when it comes to accessing AI or using AI?
Of course, yeah. AI, when we talk about socioeconomic factor, if we want to take advantage of AI, for example, we need advanced infrastructure. One example could be 5G, the 5th generation cellular infrastructure, and actually Nepal currently doesn't have. And if we consider the low-income countries, only 4% of them have 5G, and if you go to high-income countries, 85% have. Of course, they are in a position to take advantage of that, and more educated people are more likely to use, and there is also generational gap. Compared to older people, younger people are more likely to use. And if we compare, for example, in the university setting where I work, and actually students are more likely to use than teachers. And if you go to the corporate world, some departments like technology, innovation, R&D are more likely to use than other more traditional departments, like those kind of human resources and marketing. And of course, there is a big gap if you go to more advanced countries and a higher proportion of population and more companies use, and if you go to more economies in the global south or developing countries and a lower proportion of people use that. And also there is a gap between big companies and small companies, and pretty much all big companies take advantage of AI, but when you go to small and medium-sized enterprises and lower proportion use AI. So I mean there is difference across all different demographic profile of people, structure of companies, and global south, global north, and different corporate setting, and yeah, there is a lot of difference.
UNDP just released a report earlier this month, and they have warned AI could widen inequalities between countries because of unequal starting points in infrastructure, in skills, and also governance. How real do you think is the risk, and who should be responsible for managing it?
Yeah, that is a real risk actually. Basically, if we look at all the big technology companies developing AI solutions, currently there are about 25,000 of them developing different types of solutions. But if you look at all of the ones that they are currently coming, they are from the Silicon Valley in the US. So pretty much all the US companies are dominating, followed by China. China has also companies like DeepSeek. So basically, it is coming from either developed countries like the US or some European countries like France, and there are also some initiatives in the Middle Eastern countries like the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia and China. So we are not really creating a lot of AI in Nepal, or we are not creating at all in countries like Nepal and India. And so it has also something to do, when we talk about AI, there are different generations of AI, and mainly everyone understands the second generation of AI, generative AI like ChatGPT. Specifically, that type of AI requires it is about kind of training the AI model in all the content which is available freely on the internet. And if you go to the internet, more than 60% of the content on the internet is in English language. So they automatically benefit those English language speaking people, and so most content, most of the AI models are in the English language. If you go to other languages like even Hindi, actually Hindi has more than 500 million people speaking Hindi, but pretty much they cannot really find anything in Hindi written to train the things, to train the AI model. So that is viewed as low resource language. So basically, it is being created by the developed countries, more powerful companies like OpenAI or Microsoft or Amazon or Google or Chinese companies. And so basically, if we do not do anything, those technology powers might dominate. But at the same time, if we take action as soon as possible, countries like Nepal and less educated people, smaller companies, and let's say there is a small company, there is a big company. Big company is not using AI, not making good utilization of AI, but small company is doing. In that case, the small company can not only catch up, can even leapfrog the big company. So the thing is, if we do not the marginalized communities and developing countries or small companies or less educated people, if they do not take action right now, and definitely the gap between the rich and poor countries might be even wider. But if they take action, they might be able to narrow the gap. So it all depends on what all the actors are doing or likely to do in the future.
You very well touched upon the linguistic divide that we are witnessing in AI. But before jumping into that, you mentioned that countries like Nepal and India are lagging behind in progressing in AI sector.
Right.
But when we look at India, it's naturally more advanced than us. They have more access. They are a bigger economy as well, emerging giants of Asia. So what do you think are the factors that you would put Nepal and India into the same bracket?
Right. It is mainly the linguistic thing, and they have a little bit more advantage. The reason is Hindi has 500 million people speaking that language, and that means it is commercially more attractive for Silicon Valley based companies to develop model in Hindi language. So that is the advantage that has. And an example is the NVIDIA company, the graphic processing unit company based in the US, and they developed a Hindi language model collaborating with some of the big companies in India. And so actually there is no Hindi available in the internet to train them, because apparently even if they have to tweet and they have to do Facebook posting, and they apparently try to do in English in India. But what they did was they created synthetic Hindi, means they were just writing Hindi, many sentences of Hindi just to train the AI model. They could do that, and also there were Indian companies to work with NVIDIA to develop those models. So they have that advantage. But Nepal is a small country, and there are 124 different languages, and actually apparently Nepali language, that is the a lot of people speak, but still that is first language for less than 50% of the population, and so it is not really commercially attractive to develop for the Silicon Valley based companies. And of course there are probably less linguistic resources in Nepali available than Hindi, and also there may not be a lot of big technology companies in Nepal. So one advantage they have which Nepal doesn't have, although both languages in India and languages in Nepal are kind of, they call low resource language. And actually in India a lot of people speak English, but that is less than 10% of the population. 10% is a big number actually. Out of I don't know 1.4 billion people, 10% becomes many times bigger than Nepal. So they have that advantage. Even those English speaking people can take advantage of that. But apparently in Nepal, those people whose first language is English is really small, maybe something like 100,000 or even smaller than that. So that advantage they have in India, which Nepal doesn't have, and economically a little at a higher position. So those are the differences.
When we talk about inclusive AI, many scholars and academicians have had the privilege of attending your presentations on inclusive AI. But apart from language and resources, what else factors can we consider in making AI inclusive?
Right, yeah. And just going to the basic of inclusion, and actually inclusion is a term when everyone talks about the diversity, equity and inclusion, and the basic idea in inclusion is no one is excluded and no one is marginalized. That is the basic idea in inclusion. And when we go to AI, the inclusion means everyone, all individuals, all communities have some role in the AI ecosystem. When we say AI ecosystem, we mean how AI is developed and hardware and software and how AI exactly used. Everyone has that. Everyone can benefit from. Everyone is protected by AI, and basically no one is excluded from the AI ecosystem. And that is the basic idea in inclusion. And there are many factors in AI. And so basically I have in the paper that I am developing. Actually, this is a part of a book that I am working on. AI for all. So AI should be for everyone, for farmers, for low-income group, for people working in the manufacturing. And so in the inclusion I have basically identified 5 pillars, and one is if the AI is causing harm to the society or it is benefiting. That is the first pillar. And how affordable AI is for individuals and small companies. That is the second pillar. And if the AI really represents the values, cultural value or the linguistic values of the society, that is the third pillar. And if we can really own the AI, we have the agency power, we can act. That is agency and ownership is the fourth pillar. And the fifth pillar is if AI is basically, there is the transparency factor, accountability factor if something goes wrong, or the AI companies they can be held responsible for the outcome from the AI. So those basically 5 important things about inclusion that I have identified in my book that I am working on currently.
Let us further explore on these 5 pillars. The first one you mentioned about harm.
Right, yeah.
What are the risks and harms, and in what ways can the users feel the effect or impact?
Right, harm basically means that I can give you an example. Probably example can illustrate that better. And so there was the AI developed by Elon Musk. The name was Grok, and it was being used in South Africa. And so basically, whatever the things from the knowledge of the community, and it is not included in AI, and that might harm the society rather than helping them. So when they ask in South Africa, ask any question to Grok, and it was saying this white genocide and people killing all these white people is a real thing, and that is a racially motivated thing, and basically. And it is, and the AI was saying that my creator has asked me to tell that, and basically it is not the knowledge that is coming from the South African community. It is kind of some type of knowledge being controlled by the Western power. And this type of thing might be harming the society because it is against the value system of the society. That might be one harm. And other types of harm could be like there is the type of misinformation and deepfakes, and people are making wrong decisions because of the deepfakes, and they may not be able to identify they are the real thing or they are just created by AI. And if people are taking wrong action based on that, that might harm the society. Or there might also be some type of bias. And so if you are using AI to screen people, and it might exclude certain type of people from from kind of some type of job. Or actually, if you use the AI setting, and apparently depending on the words that people in different racial backgrounds might use different type of words in their essay or on different type of assignments, and it is just penalizing certain type of words, and all those are harming people actually. So there are a lot of benefits definitely AI can create, and so I should not talk about harm only, and there are actually benefits, and there are all these applications being used by farmer, and they are basically the first generation of AI, not the second generation AI. There is one in plant village Nuru in Africa, and they can identify all these different diseases in plant, and there is another one, farmer chat, and there is also a lot of different types of AI being used by farmer, and they are being able to identify the disease, and it exactly tells farmer what to do, identifying that type of disease when they upload that on their cell phone. And so actually a lot of farmers are already benefiting and increasing their productivity of 40%, 70% in countries like Kenya. So that is benefit, but there are also harms that I have to mention. So AI should benefit and not harm the society, to be inclusive. That is the idea in benefit and harm.
The example that you mentioned of the harm, it sounds very scary when AI is being used for misinformation and disinformation. Who is the onus on to combat this so that we do not face scarier consequences of it?
Right, and actually this is a really complicated area, because where I live in the US, there is kind of like freedom to express, our First Amendment, and so whatever they are putting on the internet being created by AI, that is not necessarily illegal, and companies cannot necessarily control that. So basically, I think one area is that type of thing, and always technology, any type of technology develops faster than regulations, and regulators are always busy all over the world doing other things, not controlling all this, not really controlling. And if AI is really harming the society, and it is probably regulators' job and the politicians and the policymaker job to make sure that AI does not harm the society, and they might have to collaborate with all the private companies, creators of AI, to make sure that it benefits the society rather than harming the society. But those types of regulations are not really there. And when we talk about, for example, deepfakes, and there are about this year, currently they say that there are at least 8 million deepfake videos circulating on the internet, but there are really no laws, and there are little bit laws, and if they are using some type of relation in intimate relation, and someone is putting deepfake, and that is illegal in some countries, and if they are using some type of thing in election or political thing, that is illegal, and all other types of deepfakes are not currently illegal in many parts of the world. And actually countries like Nepal do not really have any law to kind of act against deepfakes. So basically, basic thing is regulators and policymakers and the private companies and communities and all those should work together to minimize the harm in the long run.
Nepal government recently introduced AI policy, and it also envisions developing the country into an AI hub.
Right. Yeah.
Do you think there's potential in there?
Yeah, it is. If the government does a lot of things, first thing is regulation. It is easy to write regulation. They can do in one day. Writing regulation is the easiest thing in the world. But the most important challenge is enforcing that, making sure that the regulations people can benefit from that, and the economy can benefit from that, and that is one thing. And regulations in policy in themselves do not really mean anything. But if it is possible to develop AI in Nepal, and it is, but there is a lot of work that is needed for that. Actually, Nepal currently doesn't have any AI data center. AI data center means there are a little bit data center, not a lot, and they are really smaller ones. And AI data centers are the special type of data centers which are needed to develop AI and develop AI models. And also other types of data center could be when we ask ChatGPT or any type of AI, where exactly that information is processed. That is the data center for inferences, making inferences. And so Nepal doesn't have any of them currently. Without data center, we cannot really do a lot of things. And another challenge is Nepal has 124 different languages, and I mentioned earlier, Nepali is spoken by a lot of people, but less than 50%. And actually, if we look at the most popular generative AI solution right now, which is the OpenAI ChatGPT, and ChatGPT supports, last time I checked, they support 95 different languages officially. Nepali is not one of them. You might ask in Nepali, and it might give some answer in Nepali, but it is not really officially supported. If you ask anything, like if you ask this Singhadarabar, or if you ask, I actually asked about my village, which is Baksila in Kotang district, and the answer ChatGPT was giving was really, it doesn't make any sense at all. So it is not trained in the, we are not just talking about the Nepali language, but we are talking about a lot of words and a lot of terms and a lot of things about Nepal. They are not trained on that one. So, and it is not officially supported. And if we go beyond Nepali, like the top 5 languages are, I think, Bhojpuri, and one is Tamang, and those languages are not supported by ChatGPT. And so in the long run, probably we should not depend on these Western countries, Silicon Valley based companies, and Nepal should be able to do something to develop Nepali language AI model, so not using OpenAI ChatGPT, which is not really accurate, doesn't work very well in Nepal. So that is the first step, creating data set and kind of working with these AI companies, developing AI startups, encouraging them and developing those could be important. And also another thing could be, personally I think, and I have talked with many people, that AI should be required in grade 1, grade 2, 10, and no one should graduate without learning how AI works. And AI doesn't have only the positive sides, and AI has a lot of negative sides. And so rather than pretending that AI does not exist in the world, and everyone has to accept that the fact that AI is here, AI will not go away, and how to make best use of AI. So it should be required in the curricula from schools to colleges to universities, and all these educators must be trained in AI. So those are some of the important things for Nepal to do, to develop, like taking advantage of AI.
Mm-hmm. I think open platforms like ChatGPT and DeepSeek are accessible to so many people, mm-hmm. and we are using it on an everyday basis.
Right.
Do you think there are any cognitive impact of using AI so much, or depending on AI so much?
Right. Yeah. We see that there are actually, and but I think the way that our cognitive thing in the past. And like different types of cognitive. I mean, one of the important things they talk about is in university, in educational setting, is they call critical thinking. So, and the claim many people are making is that critical thinking, and people do not have that type of thinking. But I think critical thinking these days is different. The meaning of critical thinking is different. So critical thinking right now is to figure out what exactly AI can do, what are the limitations of AI, what is AI's role, what is my role as a human being, how to work together with AI to achieve whatever I want to achieve my goal. So that is the most important thing. And maybe some part of cognitive system might not be working, but other parts might be better. That is the thing. Some part definitely is declining, but other part of cognitive thing will be improving. But overall, I don't think that people will be really losing any cognitive power, just using different part of brain probably, because we have to get work done in a different way compared to the past. Mm-hmm.
We have gone through many stages of technological advancements, mm-hmm. to reach in this era of AI.
Exactly.
What's next?
Oh yeah, the next is, I think we have the kind of the predictive AI, as you were saying, AI they have been doing since 1940s, and they did a lot of things, and it was not possible to develop that time AI because we need very powerful computers, and all those things did not exist, and we have kind of powerful computers at a very low price. Anyone can develop, that is one thing. But the most popular AI that everyone is talking about right now is the second generation generative AI, and already there are kind of a lot of applications of the third generation, which is called the Agentic AI. So Agentic AI is something that basically it acts autonomously, and if you just give your goal, whatever you want to achieve, and the goal might require, let's say, 1,000 different tasks. And right now, like generative AI, like ChatGPT, can perform only one task. But the Agentic AI, basically, if you tell the AI your goal and 1,000 tasks it figures out, and it can create 1,000 different AI agents, and there will be one coordinating agent which coordinates the activities of all of those things and achieves the goal. That is not even future. In some areas they already exist. Actually, in cybersecurity, there is a company in Israel, Twin, and it has it was an employee they call the Alex. Alex is a virtual employee, and it is smarter than most of the human cybersecurity employee, and you can hire Alex at a very, very low cost compared to hiring a kind of human cybersecurity personnel. And so basically that Alex can identify any threat that your company is facing, can figure out all the different things it needs to do, can create agents to perform the specific task, and can take action. And actually in many areas, like in healthcare, there is this company known as Hippocratic AI in California, and it has a lot of different agents, it has different nurses, and basically many hospitals can employ at a very, very low cost performing all those different things. And so in marketing, there is a company like Salesforce, and Salesforce has a lot of these. Salesforce says that it will have billion different agents working different sales and marketing functions in the future, and Microsoft also has some kind of 11 different agents and agentic AI solutions. So agentic AI already is here, but there are some limitations. The data should be of very good quality, which is not the case, and basically a high degree of autonomy is not really possible. And there is autonomy, but companies do not want to give a high degree of autonomy. Maybe in the future, you and I may not be doing shopping anymore. Basically, we might have shopping agent, and the shopping agent will have all our credit card information. It has all the information, and if you need a new pair of shoes, automatically it knows your preferences, it knows your brand, and basically it looks at millions of pieces of information about that brand, and it will order for you. And basically, and that thing is already agentic AI Actually, it is already here, and so although not widespread in many different areas, so it is already here. And actually, going further than that, and just before going that, I might have to mention one thing that right now this year only US companies are investing about $400 billion in AI solution, and in 2028 companies worldwide are estimated to invest about $3 trillion only in data center, because all this information that I was talking about, they have to store that information, they have to analyze, they have to process in data center. So it is real thing. And actually one thing is, no AI company is really making any money, and so everyone is losing. And what is the ultimate goal? Ultimate goal for all these companies, in whoever becomes the first one to create, superhuman, super intelligence, or they call and even before that they call the artificial general intelligence. And the AGI, the idea in artificial general intelligence is it is exactly like human being, all the things human being can do, all the cognitive things that human being do, and the AI will have, like a human being will be able to process information, analyze information, feel and evaluate different sources of information, create new things. It can do all the things that human being can do. Not only that, faster, because already there are many AI solutions that can process and that can do things 100 times faster than human being, but they can do only in one narrow area. Maybe they might be doing some robotics thing in factory, or ChatGPT, or maybe there might be AI system only for agriculture, AI system only for manufacturing, only narrow area focusing on. So the future will be exactly like human being, but like thousands of human beings, and they can perform. That is the artificial general intelligence. That is the goal. And people do not agree. I don't know when exactly that will come. Maybe 20 years, 30 years, or 40 years. That is a little far. But actually, the agentic AI, the third generation, is already here. Many companies are already using that, and it is already kind of being more and more widespread among many different companies.
Mm-hmm. While you talk about all these advancements in the generation of AI, artificial intelligence, and then super intelligence as well, there's also, apart from the benefits, there's also a fear of doom and gloom, maybe.
Right, yeah, that is a real thing. It is possible, actually. So basically human being creating different types of AI, more advanced AI, just like human being. And not only that, the smart AIs will be creating their own AIs, and who knows, maybe those AIs could be, and they can take action that human beings have never thought of, and that is possible. And for that, actually, again, going back to the earlier thing that I mentioned, maybe the regulators and the AI companies, and the regulators, not only the national regulators, but all these international institutions like the UN and all those have to work together. Actually, local communities who are developing the AI solutions, they might have to work together and develop some ethical thing. And right now, actually, what is ethical, what is unethical, the standard has not been really developed, and so they have to work together to make sure that we can minimize the harm from the potential harm from the AI. So that is really important. That, as you mentioned earlier, about the importance of collaboration.
Professor Kshetri, thank you so much for being on the show. It was lovely having you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, as AI continues to evolve, it is clear that its impact will extend far beyond technology, shaping economies, cultures, languages, and access to knowledge itself. The challenge ahead is not just about building more powerful systems, but about making thoughtful choices around governance, inclusion, and accountability. Whether AI becomes a force that deepens divides or one that helps bridge them will depend on the decisions we make today. Thank you for staying with us here on the program. Until next time.